Someday, I want to do this. Someday, I want to travel. When I have more time, when I have more money, when I have fewer responsibilities, I will travel. Isn't this a thought which crosses our mind while checking social media posts of people who have traveled? And why not? We all love travel. Our ancestors have traveled huge distances to move from one continent to populate the entire earth. They were nomads, they were explorers, and they moved. The urge to see what's lying beyond that mountain is so strong that people travel the distances because of that. I too did the same thing. Traveling is not just our history, it's in our DNA. And it's in my DNA as well as your DNA. I have traveled to 69 countries so far. But why does everyone not travel like that? I asked some of my friends, and they said they're in a rat race, which they did not choose. They have purchased second home, fancier car, latest gadgets, and taken loans, and they have to pay installment every month for that. They realized they have purchased things they didn't need by money they haven't yet earned. And for whom? For people they don't even like. And in some cases, someone whom they really like doesn't even care. Is it not the case with some of you? That is what happens. Time is our greatest currency. We trade time to get money, and then we use money to buy things. What if we could reverse that? What if we could give away some things so that we have more time and have more experiences? Think about that. I too was in the rat race at one time, chasing targets, marketing. But I used to travel for work. And whenever I traveled, I used to always see the cities I went to. This love for travel got further boosted when I traveled South American countries, such as Uruguay, Argentina, and Brazil, as a Rotary scholar. I saw very successful people there living in a different way. Some of these people did not even take a U-turn because that was stressful. So instead of U, they went in a big alphabet P just to take a U-turn. A town had cut electricity because they did not want to have disturbance. They wanted peace. One Saturday evening, we were being driven to watch a football game by our local host, Antonio Castro, a chartered accountant. He received a call from his client, and he scolded the client. The work that you are explaining is not at all urgent. You could have waited till Monday morning instead of calling me now. Why didn't you wait? This is Antonio Castro. And he said, I'm going to watch football game, and cut the call. My fellow co-scholar used to be on phone all the time. So I said, learn from him. And he said, Antonio can say that because he's successful. At that moment, as if I had an epiphany, I said, no, it's the other way around. Antonio is successful because he can say that. I gave a fresh perspective to the same thing. I started thinking about this. Freedom is not owning things. Freedom is owning time. Freedom is having the ability to do what you desire and when you desire. I started following this and reprioritize things in my life. I gave up activities which drained my energy and instead chose activities which gave me joy. Because of this, I have so far traveled to 730 cities in 69 countries in self-planned multiple tours. Last year alone, I have traveled to 14 countries over 3.5 months across 3 separate trips. Any Gen Z here? Some of these countries are born after you were born. So these are Gen Z nations. Any millennials here? Some of these countries are born after you were born. So these nations are millennials. Anyone born here before 1980? Most of these countries were born before you were born. For me, my someday happened. I don't have to worry about some future day. For me, my someday is already over, and I feel quite contented with that. I came back and started working on my business. If I have to travel, which is my passion, I need funds. And for increasing business of my business of training, consultancy, and coaching, I added contents such as cricket and management, since I loved sports, music and management, since I loved music, and even since I dealt with many cases, I added conflict management and negotiation skills to my repertoire of training programs. Companies started paying me for that. My friends started calling me globetrotter because of my travel. And I created contents to suit that. How to travel in other countries and how to behave with the locals, knowing their cultural nuances. I created this content. Look at the irony. I wanted to travel. I needed funds for that. Companies paid me funds for what? So that I could teach their employees. And with that funding, what did I do? I traveled further. So the irony is, my passion for travel funded my passion to travel. I started Toastmasters movement in the city 2 decades ago, where there were 0 clubs in 2003-4. Today, there are 90 clubs with over 2,500 current members, and overall, we have trained more than 50,000 people in this city. I gave back. I created a lot of leaders and nurtured and mentored them, and hundreds of leaders went on to be successful in their corporate life because of the training they received with me. Large national newspapers such as Times of India and Indian Express covered our activity in half-page articles. As well as my profession was that of training. I continued to do that. Here, I'm not at all saying that you don't behave responsibly. You have responsibilities for your family, your finances, and I did that as well. I behaved responsibly. I spent all the money that my family needed. My son is studying in Germany, and I funded his education till master's. But I continued to have my passion as well. I am an office bearer, or I have been an office bearer in Rotary, Toastmasters, as well as my housing society. I have also created WhatsApp groups and managed them for lovers of sports, books, films, and travel. All these things were possible because my passion continued, and I chose to not just collect assets, but to collect memories, to collect stories. With that, it was possible. Since I have this selfless behavior of inviting others to benefit from me, I asked my friends, do you want to travel with me? Please join me. Many of them said they couldn't because either they didn't have money or time or both. Some friends said they will join for one trip, half trip, maybe 4 days, maybe 8 days. One friend said he will join me after his retirement. And I was really looking forward to that because he had money and he would have time. Unfortunately, he passed away within a couple of months of his retirement, and that never happened. So don't postpone this travel or any other passion for too long. I continued to travel, mostly solo or with my family, not on huge budgets, $70 a day, ground expenses, exploring the world, eating local food, couch surfing, meeting locals to know more about their cultures. This continued. And yes, I also did adventure sports. Last year alone, at my age, I did volcano boarding in Nicaragua, zip line in Central America, and I also rode horses over trails in Kyrgyzstan. This horse was really kind to me, isn't it? Looking at my body. And so was this balloon, taking my weight in Turkey. These moments give me memories which will be cherished for a long time. And when I'm on my deathbed, I remember such days, and that will bring a smile to my lips. My friends ask me, how do you afford this? My response: enriched living or adventure is not for the rich or young. It is for those who are willing. Let me make one thing clear. Enrichment is not just travel. It could be other things for you. For a teacher, it could be reading books, and you may find joy in that. Someone might cook for the family, and the family members might eat whatever be the taste. Even that is enriched living and endearment as well. Someone might play an instrument, and though it might be out of sync, the family members might listen to that with a sweet look in their eyes. That is also enrichment. But neighbors tolerating that out of sync song, that's not really enrichment, that is tolerance. Someone may just choose to watch the 100 best movies or read 100 best books, or someone may do charity, just focusing on charity because it pleases your heart. Even that could be enriched life. We talk of balanced life, so let me share one story with you. When I was newly married, we stayed in Singapore in an apartment which had 3 rooms instead of 4, which most of my friends had. When I wrote about this to my parents, that I'm saving $250 rent and have chosen 3-room apartment, they wrote back, why do you need even 3 rooms? Even 2 rooms are sufficient. I said, in case we fight, we can sleep in different rooms. But that doesn't really happen. When you are newly married, you may fight, you may argue, but you will still sleep in the same room at the end of the day. But this 1 room less saved us $250 a month. And over 2.5 years, it amounted to a substantial saving, which we used to travel to Europe for 3 weeks. Before our son was born, so we were young, we had money, and we could travel. We realized we have some other savings as well and travel to Australia as well. So this is what I mean by balanced life. You may have some unbalanced months in which you may travel a lot, but overall it may get balanced beautifully in a year. Some days you may do more of one thing. When I watch film festival, I watch 6 films a day over a week. But on other occasions, you do other things. So life gets balanced. I missed watching films when I was heading Toastmasters for 4 years. After that, after my term got over, I watched 100 films per year for the last 10 years. I miss spending time with my son. So I took him on a trip to Europe of 2 months. And we bonded over travel of those 60 days. Father-son bonding. Now what can you do? You can do simple, tiny acts of rebellion, which will be helpful to you in the long run. You can start small. Just take a no-work weekend. Just read 10 or 20 pages a day. If you have 3 hours in a weekend, over a weekend, just watch a film. Or you could cook or paint if you like those things. You could learn a new language if you want. Or an instrument. Friends, you may choose to do things differently. That is fine. Your enrichment definition could be different than mine. That is fine as well. My takeaways for you are these 4 R's. Reprioritize your life to fit in time for your activities that you desire. Restructure your day so that you can take time for your hobbies. Reduce your liabilities. And most importantly, reduce your future regrets. If you can do these 4 things, you can note this down. I'll keep this slide on. You would have lived a life which is enriching. And at the end of your life, you won't have regrets. You will have a smile on your lips. Friends, live your life not as a question mark, but as an exclamation mark. Think, what will happen if your job were to vanish tomorrow? Will your life have any meaning? If not, create that meaning now. Cultivate that. Work towards that. Don't just collect assets. Collect memories. Collect stories. Bye. Thank you.